Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. This episode is going to be really special. We haven't done something like this before, and I think you're all going to love it. This episode is all about sharing stories, real live stories of couples who have gone through egg donation here at YourEggs, so that you can connect with those stories, but more importantly, see what is actually possible. I'm really excited to share these stories, and to help me do that, I have Dion here, who works with YourEggs as well, to share those stories with you. I asked Dion to come up with a few stories that are special and unique, and you did that, didn't you?
Yes, we have a lot. It's hard to choose from because so many of them are amazing.
I know, that's why I had to
Yes.
narrow it down to 3.
Yes.
Before we jump into that, just a reminder for all of you watching that if you want more information on YourEggs, if you want more information on becoming an egg donor or using an egg donor, that head on over to YourEggs, our website, youreggs.com, for more information on that. Okay, let's jump into these stories. So I think these stories are unique in very different ways. But this first one really just shows you how special, how important being an egg donor can be to a couple and what it really, really means. And that's why, like this one, I just get the chills just leading up to it for you. So I want to turn it over to you to start, and then I'll jump in with some questions. But start us off with this story. This one got a lot of notoriety, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So the story was recently an article published in NewsWeek, and at the heart of the story was a thank you letter written by the intended parents to their donor.
Yeah, that doesn't happen very often, right?
I mean, not as often as we would like. So we were hoping to shed some light because so many of them are so grateful,
Right.
but don't necessarily think of taking that step to write this personalized letter, which did make this one extra special. And
so, what were some of the details? Like, what we're going to share that letter up on the screen for everyone to see. But what are the highlights of that letter that really kind of allowed the intended parents to connect with the donor?
yeah, so it was thanking them, and it was explaining their journey, that the couple had been through, a decade of unsuccessful IVF attempts and heartbreaking miscarriages and many struggles in their fertility journey, and, had been on the cusp of giving up. But after seeing their egg donor's profile, they knew it was meant to be, they wrote to the donor.
So they saw her profile, and there were some things in her profile that they just gravitated towards, and they were like, "This is the one."
Yes, absolutely. And it just came from a place of genuine love, as it was being written to the donor. And the donor who received the letter was so grateful when she opened the letter and read it, because everything she went through being an egg donor, the struggles that they have as they go through the retrieval, to see that it went to such a kind and loving family made her feel that everything was worth it.
Yeah, I mean, the donor's obviously compensated for her
course.
time and process
Yes.
and the whole thing,
Yes.
right? But it's hopefully for most of them, it's much more than just the financial compensation. For them, it's being able to offer something to these couples that they would otherwise not be able to achieve.
Yes, absolutely. And this particular donor who received the letter, she was from Florida. She was a first-time donor, and she was inspired to help a couple build their family, and then receiving this letter made her feel so cared for, and she felt very honored to be able to help this couple's dream come true.
So how did it make it to Newsweek? You said when we started talking, or you started sharing, you said that Newsweek wrote an article on. Why did Newsweek even know about this?
Yes, well, we decided to post it because it was such a heartfelt letter. So with the intended parents' permission and without the names, we posted it on TikTok, just wanting to share how life-changing egg donation can be for a family, and also for the donor, really for both parties. And the post went viral. It had over 6.5 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, touching many hearts online and
Obviously.
inspiring many comments. It had over 1,400 comments, and some of them saying things such as kindness is so beautiful, and just really opening the dialogue about becoming an egg donor, and also what it's like to be intended parents, who move on to that step of choosing an egg donor and build their family in that way.
That's awesome. So that's how Newsweek picked it up. They saw the post
The
and they
TikTok.
reached out to do that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Amazing. That's such a beautiful, beautiful story. So a kind of a different take on the connection that happens between a donor and intended parents is our second story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a little bit different. So the first story was about that connection of donor and intended parents and just the beauty of being able to provide and help a couple create a child and a family that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to. This story is a little bit different because it was profound in many ways, right? Profound for the couple,
Yes.
but also really purposeful and profound for the donor.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about this.
Yeah, no, I'd love to talk about the second story. And part of, bridging from the first one, from the first story, we were able to inspire many more people to donate their eggs.
Ooh.
Yeah, which is just amazing, because then it allows intended parents to also be able to find that perfect match.
Okay.
Yeah, so this really, makes people be able to connect to the donor. So our second, story that we have is about a couple who were very specific. They wanted a donor from not just, from that didn't just look like them, but also from their country in Southeast Asia. So they were able to not only find a donor from their country, but also one from the exact village from which they grew up in.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
So it's not just many couples are looking for specific things. Sometimes it's geography, like you just mentioned,
Yes.
but sometimes it could be education or religious background or whatever those details
Yes.
that are really important and specific to those couples would be. They're very very about that. It could be hair
Yes.
color, it could be something else. In this case,
Yes.
they wanted a specific donor from a specific region in, you mentioned where?
Southeast Asia.
In Southeast Asia.
Yes.
Amazing. And they were able to find
Yes,
someone from
their-
that specific area?
From their exact village.
From their exact village.
Yes. Yeah, which, of course, the donor looked like them, and then not only from the same country, but from the exact village. So they were ecstatic, and the donor was super excited as well.
That, to me, that speaks so much about the donor database that YourEggs have. Just like the big population of donors to choose from, that they were able to find someone so specific.
Yes, to have that exact match.
To have that exact match from a village in Southeast Asia, like that's not easy to do.
No, and I think part of that goes back to the first story we talked about with, building conversation about being a donor and intended parents, using that pathway to parenthood, and how gratifying it was for the donor to be able to help the family, help to inspire more people to apply, so that, we are able to find people who will be a perfect match for a couple.
It's truly, truly amazing. I love hearing that story. Okay, third story.
Yes.
This one's fun. This one's fun because it changed the life of the donor.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, let's jump into that.
Yeah, because as we've been discussing, obviously this is completely life-changing for the intended parents. They'll have a connection to that donor, throughout their life, and, they're building their family. So, but also for the donors, in addition to the immense gratitude and, that feeling that they have from being able to do something for another family, there's also financial compensation. And it's always interesting to see what the donors, are, choosing to do with the financial compensation. Many people, of course, are paying for college, or want to travel, or a down payment for a place to live. So, a lot of different great reasons, that donors are able to put this funding to use. But this particular donor, really, her dream was to be a pilot. She always wanted to be a pilot, but we all know that becoming a pilot takes a lot of training and is very expensive to have that airtime.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she ended up being able to completely fund her pilot school with being an egg donor.
Really?
Yes, and it's amazing, and then we'll be able to share her picture here. She gave us permission to share her picture, so now she has her license and yes, is a pilot.
That is awesome. Hopefully that picture is not just a picture of her, but a picture of her standing next to a plane.
Next to a plane, right? Exactly.
That would be fantastic. So that's
Achieving her
amazing.
dream.
Yeah, she was able to fulfill, look, 2 dreams were fulfilled by one cycle, right?
Yeah.
This couple was able to fulfill their dream of having a child and their family. And then she was able to fulfill her career dream of being a pilot, and not just take classes, but be able to fulfill the entire process of going to flight school and then the airtime to be able to have her license. It's such an amazing story.
Yeah, it's so awesome to get to see both how excited the intended parents are, bringing their baby home and feeling that connection to their baby, and then also getting to see the donors feeling so grateful that they were able to help the family, and then also to be able to help their, be a step closer to their dreams coming true as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I couldn't have said it better. I mean, the thing for me that sticks out with all 3 of these stories is the true connection between donor and intended parent. I mean, I think a lot of people watching think of this as just 2 separate entities.
Because
right?
it's anonymous.
Right.
Yes.
But even though we might not always meet one another,
Right.
And actually in most cases, donor and
Right.
intended parent do not meet one another. It doesn't mean that there still can't be a strong connection or a strong bond. I mean,
Yes.
for a story, they wrote a letter just to say thanks and show their gratitude, and that meant a lot to the donor.
And they opened up about their personal story
Yeah.
in the letter.
Which means a lot. And this last one, to be able to have, people use their money in so many different ways, and she was able to create her next step, her next career, right? Not her next career, but her career, her next step in
Her
her
dream
life
career.
as a result of being a donor. So this, to me, often I think everyone just hears using a donor egg and they think this is like a one-sided process. To me,
Right.
this is, it's beauty on both sides.
Absolutely.
Everyone wins if it's done for the right reasons. Certainly in these 3 stories, it was done for the right reasons. So it's so beautiful to hear those. So thank you so much for sharing those stories. Hopefully for all of you watching, what it does is inspire you. Hopefully this inspires you to consider using a donor if you're closer to that point, or if you've been thinking about it and you've been hesitant. Hopefully these stories allow you to connect to this process a little bit differently and allow you to be a little bit more open to the process if that's the path you need to choose. And for all of you watching who were considering being a donor or wondered why all these women donate their eggs, this is why. These are the reasons why they do it. And hopefully for all of you who are of the age and health to become an egg donor, really consider that as well on your journey. It's not just helpful for you, but it's really life-changing to the couples that use an egg donor. So hopefully you'll consider that as well. Whichever side of that spectrum you are on, whether you want to be or are considering being a donor or using a donor, then we invite you to check out YourEggs, check out our database, learn more about what we can do and how we can support you on your journey, whichever side of that process you are on. So head on over to youreggs.com for more information, and we'll see all of you in the next video.